It's currently 9:04 p.m. I recall around 9:30 in the morning was when I had the fried dough that Dad and I got from Salvatore's last night. I recall that being around the time I got up today. I recall waking up around 8:30 in the morning, but I fell back asleep. It was sometime 8:30 at the latest, 7:30 in the morning at the earliest. I recall deleting some of the raw video clips from my trip to Italy and Greece a few years ago off my phone in order to make some room. For my dinner videos. I did that within the first few hours of today before going to bed around 3:30 in the morning. I'm currently working on the Christmas wreath ball for Mom. I primarily worked on this sunflower, the outline for it, in the afternoon. And then I did this, the outline for this tulip first, and then this one most recently. And now I'm currently working on the outline for this tulip. I ultimately have plans to draw on 5 tulips that'll primarily be yellow with some default blue, which I consider to be this hue of blue. The ball itself will be mostly this color. So I think, as a sort of counterbalance, a majority of sort of counterbalance the tulips are going to be mostly yellow. As well as some of the pine cones and berries. And while others will be blue. These are all the Sharpie markers that I've used so far for this project. I needed this 2 black Sharpie markers because initially the ultrafine end of one was kind of dried out, so I had to get another black dual tip Sharpie marker in order to be able to draw part of the tulip anatomy based off reference images of tulips in order to do top-down views of tulips, which I first did around 3:30 p.m. That's around the time I pretty much finished this tulip here. As for me doing the top-down views, for the tulips was pretty difficult to some extent. I was copying the reference image, while to another extent I think I was trying to add my own spin to it. I had to carefully consider where to draw with these 2 Sharpie markers in order to make the outline for the yellow and default blue areas of the tulips. For when I finish the outlines and am then able to color in the polystyrene drawing project, I heard that you're at least a week ago you're supposed to, in a sort of sense, my interpretation, do the outline of the whole drawing first and then add in the details, rather than essentially what I've been doing, which is completely finishing one part and then moving on to the next. In order to finish the whole drawing. Though doing the sunflower petals, it wasn't easy. It took some time. It wasn't as hard for me as the top view tulips. I did this petal first, and then I kind of went side to side, kind of like this, going towards this last petal I did, in effort to ensure that I didn't gradually make the petals longer or shorter, well, which I feared would happen if I did them like this in an either clockwise or counterclockwise fashion. Around 1 p.m. was when I had the bagel sandwiches Dad made for me in the morning while I was sleeping. If I recall, by that point I had finished the morning coffee. Which included a thermos that was full of essentially cold brew coffee, though it all ended up being cold brew. By cold brew, I mean coffee that was allowed to cool to room temperature, essentially. Now, this is something that Dad's mom made. I think it's supposed to be a sort of stew with mashed potatoes. It's pretty good. And I also had to be careful to make sure that each petal stayed the same width and try to make them the same shape, but some petals have some variance in their shape, including their tip at the end, but it still turned out pretty good. After doing this petal, I did this petal, and then I would do 2 separate petals and then go in between them. That's how I did the petals. And as a matter of fact, that's generally how I've drawn every sunflower I've ever drawn. In terms of the petals, according to my recollection. To work on this project, I made some effort to leave time where I'm not playing a game. The 3 that I typically go back to, one of which is Elvenar, and the other 2 are Queen's Blade Limit Break and Epic Incremental Hero 2. The bagel sandwiches I had around 1 p.m. Because I was so engrossed on working on this project at the time, I didn't think to do what I usually do with the bagel sandwiches and toast them. Instead, I microwaved them for 2 minutes, which was enough to partially melt the pepper jack cheese and make the bagels kind of soft making it kind of feel like a breakfast bagel sandwich that you get from a fast food restaurant. Something like that. Maybe that's not the best way to describe it. Maybe it's more like what happens when you get a frozen bagel sandwich and then microwave it, like you're typically instructed to do. All I know is that felt familiar to me for some reason. How those bagel sandwiches turned out. They were pretty good. This cup is part of the evening pot of coffee that, if I recall correctly, Dad made around 6:30, 7 p.m. And of that, this is my second cup of it. I've noticed that I'm not spitting or coughing up as much phlegm. Even when I have milk, so that's good. I figure it's residual effects from the cold I got early this month. Yeah, I've been feeling fine these past couple of weeks. Just occasionally spitting / coughing up some phlegm. I believe it's left over from my immune response to fight off the cold. Something like that, according to what I'm familiar with. It primarily occurred in the early afternoon. Dan and I are both having, I believe, Russell Station chocolates for dessert. Dad said this is a pecan cluster, but this looks more like a caramel cluster. And Dad said this is coconut. I don't detect any coconut. It's currently 9:40 p.m. About 10 or so minutes ago, I had a square with toffee in it, a couple chocolate-covered almonds, and a real pecan cluster. They're all pretty much in this hand. Dad gave me the rest of the Russell Stover chocolates. It's currently 10:05 p.m. I believe this is one of the toffee squares I was talking about. Tastes pretty good, and these are the chocolate covered almonds. Seems like this one has some marshmallow in it. I finished the third top view tool-up, and I'm currently working on the fourth. I'm planning a total of 5. Maybe 6. Depends on what feels right. And I did this third top view tool up within the last hours of today. And I'm currently working on the fourth. All those raw video files from my study abroad trip to Italy and Greece, they're all up on my YouTube channel, and as part of what were these really big YouCut video projects at the time, to the point where in order to put them together, at times I had to delete videos from my phone. Essentially, it was a cycle of at times getting the raw video clips, putting them together into YouCut projects, uploading them to my channel, then deleting the YouCut video projects and raw video clips so I could make room for the next big YouCut video project. You can pause the video to read this. These top view tool-ups, they're a welcome challenge. I'll be sure to do my best on them. And here's where I am currently in terms of building the workshops I'll need to complete the current side quest. And I'm only working on the third one needed for it. I may need more space in order to work on more.